Hi, it's late. I know I cannot be the only one who's up at night thinking about the horrible things that our tax dollars are funding and feeling absolutely powerless to stop it on my own. Our tax dollars are funding concentration camps in the United States. Billions and billions of our tax dollars are being used to terrorize our immigrant neighbors, to deprive them of their rights and stuff them into concentration camps like Alligator Auschwitz. There's one being built up by the Great Lakes as well. Not only that, we're sending our tax dollars to Israel so that they can kill people who show up to get food aid, families, children who show up trying to get food and water because they're literally starving to death. Israel is killing them using money that we send. That shit definitely keeps me up at night. It is so overwhelming when you think about these huge, powerful institutions, structures, governments, their vast quantities of resources, their complete lack of ethics. And you feel like, well, I'm just one person. And how can I stop this? And I think it can be easy for us to get paralyzed. But we have to remember that it is the collective power of all of us, right? We contribute what we have out of our own abilities, out of our own resources. We need to give and do that work, but it's not up to us on our own. We come together and we join with other people. And it is through all of us together, our collective action, that we are able to make a difference. And I think for me, the thing I can get really down about is not that the problems are really big and that I'm really small, because I do have that perspective of like, okay, it's not up to me by myself, right? It's up to me to find other people and connect to other people. And together we're going to get this job done. For me, where I get really down is thinking about all the people who aren't doing anything. The people who right now in America are really checked out. They're blissfully unaware of how bad it is. Either they're like, oh, I can't be political. I can't handle politics. It's too hard for me to bear witness. And so I don't read about the things that are happening. I choose to remain willfully ignorant. The people who are like, oh, it's too hard for me. I don't know. I don't know how anybody in the United States can be ignorant of what is happening, but lots of people are. And lots of people who are aware are apathetic and are like not showing up to the party, not giving their work, not contributing, not being plugged in, not being activated to do the necessary work. It requires all of us. Collective action requires a collective. It requires the American people to join together in sustained resistance. And so for me, I understand that a lot of what we're doing now is like building the muscle, bringing people into the movement. But I can get really discouraged at people who are apathetic, at people who are checked out, at people who are living their lives like, not that, yeah, okay, things aren't great, but maybe we'll just somehow magically stop all of this without me having to give any work or do anything. Somebody else is in charge of stopping this. That is something that's very difficult for me to accept and keeps me up at night, how anybody cannot be moved to want to do something right now. And so in those moments, I try to go and look for the helpers, right? It's that Mr. Rogers saying, I know it can feel really trite, but it's so true. When you feel like too many people are not doing enough, when you feel demoralized, when you feel like the regime is big and powerful, you got to go look for the helpers. You got to go look for the people who are doing the good work, be encouraged by them, be empowered by them, and then go and support them. So in particular, I want to point you to a story that was in Mother Jones on the 17th. By the way, Mother Jones, great journalism right now, just consistently great. Let me grab my laptop here and I want to share this story with you. The piece is entitled Florida Tribe Joins the Fight Against Alligator Alcatraz. I would encourage everybody to use the phrase Alligator Auschwitz or to say the Florida concentration camp, because Trump is the one who wants to use the term Alligator Alcatraz. He wants to make it sound like the people who are in that camp are hardened criminals, when we actually know they have committed no crimes. They've not even been charged with any crimes. They are our farm workers. They are our construction workers. By the way, there was a teenage boy who was kept in there for several days before they were able to get him out, even though it's supposed to only be adult men. In there, this regime doesn't give a shit about children. They don't give a shit about brown people. They are committing an ethnic cleansing. So anyway, I would encourage you to use the term concentration camp or Alligator Auschwitz instead of Alligator Alcatraz. But we're looking for the helpers now. We're looking for the helpers. The Miccosukee tribe in Florida joined environmental groups on Tuesday to sue the federal and state agencies that constructed an immigrant detention center known as Alligator Auschwitz, located inside the Everglades National Park, in a motion to join a lawsuit as one of the first tribes to potentially sue against the detention center. The case argues that the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Miami-Dade County, and the Florida Division of Emergency Management did not seek an environmental review. The filing alleges the center's proximity to Miccosukee villages, ceremonial sites, and access to traditional hunting grounds, and raises significant concerns about environmental degradation and potential impacts. We are going to make sure that we fight this facility on whatever front is available to us, said William Popeye James Asicola, who is the secretary of the Miccosukee Tribal Council. He hopes the lawsuit will signify that the tribe will continue fighting to do what it's always done, which is protect the land and save the land that saved us. Nearby the concentration camp are 15 active tribal villages inside Big Cypress National Preserve, which is located in the Everglades. According to Osceola, since the camp opened, tribal members have been restricted from gathering traditional plants for medicine. He went on to describe how it's very jarring to see gates put up on their traditional land where they go to access medicine that they need. During the 19th century and the Seminole Wars, which the Seminole Nation and the Miccosukee Nation view as one continuous conflict against the United States, many members fled into the wetlands and used their natural environment as a refuge. In a press conference last month, Ron DeSantis tried to claim that this concentration camp would have, quote, zero environmental impact on the wetlands environment. I know it's easy to just totally focus on the human rights violations that are happening with this camp, but there's also the environmental violations. There's also the cost to a fragile wetland ecosystem. Let's not forget that Everglades National Park is our heritage. That belongs to us, the American people. That land is sacred to the Miccosukee and Seminole people. When this regime tries to log our national forests, when they are trying to sell off land that belongs to us, the American people, as Senator Mike Lee has repeatedly been attempting to do, when they pollute the land that belongs to all of us, they are wronging us, the American people. They are stealing from us. They are harming us. We are connected to that land. It is an extension of us. And when they harm it, they harm us. So despite Ron DeSantis claiming there would be zero impact from a sloppily, shoddily built tent concentration camp that is meant to house thousands of men being thrown up in a week in the Everglades, sure, that's not going to harm that fragile ecosystem. Where's the plumbing? What's happening to all of the sewage? What's happening to all of the garbage? I know that Ron DeSantis made it sound like they were just building on an abandoned airstrip. That airstrip is in the Everglades. That airstrip is in a national park. The original plan for this airstrip was they were going to try and make the world's largest airport in the middle of a fragile ecosystem, and that utterly failed. So now they're repurposing it for a concentration camp. Observers at the facility have said they keep the lights on all the time, and we know that people who are imprisoned there have said the same thing. They won't turn the lights off. That's psychologically really bad for you, but it's also created mosquito swarms that are drawn to the light and the sight. Recent satellite images have also shown that they have added new freshly paved roads. So what do you mean zero environmental impact? Last year, the Miccosukee tribe and the National Park Service signed a co-stewardship agreement for Everglades National Park. The partnership aimed to collaborate on protecting tribal practices, restoration efforts for the land's vegetation, and protection. Think about what life was like a year ago. I don't hear from anybody that both sides are exactly the same and Trump is the same as Joe Biden was. Think about how much progress was being made a year ago. Think about all of the things that were implemented, all of the good things that were happening that have been stolen, robbed from us now under Trump. Do not try and tell me that both parties are the same. Do not try and tell me that there is no difference between Donald Trump and what the Democrats do when they're in power. Nobody believes you. You can criticize both parties, but they are not the same. They are not the fucking same. We would not be living this reality now if Kamala Harris had been elected. And anybody who claims that there's no difference, I'm sorry, but you're intellectually completely dishonest. You lose all credibility with that nonsense. Osceola implied that because there is now continuous traffic into and out of alligator Auschwitz, that we will see more deaths with the wildlife. This is a fragile ecosystem with critically endangered panthers, bats, turtles, and other species. It's taken decades just to get the Everglades restoration going like it is now, and they're undoing it. The Department of Homeland Security, just like they did with the Gulag in El Salvador, they're like, not under our jurisdiction, nothing we can do. They're trying to claim that Florida controls all of the facility. Despite the fact that the funding is coming from the federal government, it's a federal project, and they're not fooling anybody. There's also additional litigation that the facility violates the Clean Water Act and the Endangered Species Act. Also, one more important thing to note, that when Ron DeSantis invited members of Congress to tour the facility, he didn't extend that invitation to the tribes. Please look for the helpers, y'all. There are people fighting back. There are organizations, there are tribes, there are individuals who care deeply about stopping what's happening. Don't be discouraged. Look for the helpers and then join them. This is worthy and important work, and when we all come together, we can get the job done.